for this piece of property to have something constructive built on it. So we welcome that concept. However, I've been very enamored of our history recently because after I retired, I became a docent at the Curtis Mansion. Okay, very impressed with our founder, okay, Glenn Curtis, who developed the Mission Pueblo Revival Architecture concept for Miami Springs. He would be insulted, seriously. Putting a couple of little wooden sticks coming out of the top of the building is not so good. Sorry, but I'm not saying we need to build another Curtis Mansion, okay, or a Stadnix. But seriously, this is very sterile, very cold. This is maybe the trend now for places like downtown Doral, but we're a historic city, and our 30 years of waiting deserves better than this design. I'm sorry. Because once we build it, we're stuck with it, okay? And 10 years from now, this is not gonna probably be the trend, because it's too trendy, and it's not who we are, number one. Number two, I have a very practical concern. When I looked at the plans for the interior, maybe you can put those up, the interior apartments. Okay, the ones that are facing inside, there's an interior corridor, and then you look out, and those people, their only windows are looking out at the walls of a parking garage. Who wants to live there? That's like building a prison. And I don't think anybody's, I don't know if anybody's thought about that, but I'd like an answer to what we're going to be looking at.
Obviously, we can't answer for the architects, but in the society we live in, it's freedom of choice. If the person chooses to live there and that's their choice. Nobody's actually making them live there.
So, well, then why are we building it if we don't want people to live there? And why are we building?
Well, what I'm saying is that that is the option.
Views?
That is the option, and I'm actually glad because I'm also a history buff. So I'm glad that you're involved with the history. And I want to make. I've been here in Miami Springs for 19 years. And I want to make a general statement because when I moved here, I was told that we were a Pueblo city, and it is our history and so on. Actually, I'm a big fan of Glenn Curtis because I work at the airport. I'm an aviation buff. But some facts are, you can't dispute facts. Miami Springs, per the last census that was conducted, and obviously it gets adjusted every so often. But the last published data by the federal government says that Miami Springs has roughly 4,800 households. Miami Springs, per the Historical Society, has 17 buildings. And if you go by the actual, I think there was a study done in 07 or 04, it showed that Miami Springs had 35 historical buildings. Not designated by whether the federal government or the city, but they were historical in nature. Out of that, 24 are actually homes or structures, because the golf course is on that list. It's not. So if you actually just do the math, that's less than 0.5%. But even more so, another thing that I want to make sure everybody understands is that history is also, it shows you what reality is. The last Pueblo home in this city was built in the 1920s. So about 82 years have gone by. Since I've been on this board and in Miami Springs, 2 buildings have been renovated. The mansion and the apartments here, a few blocks away. So my point is, although I actually like Pueblo because I like southwestern the U.S. I like New Mexico a lot, and I like Southern California, and the missions. I've been to many missions, in which is actually the source of the Pueblo style. But I want to make sure that people understand that yes, it is part of our history, and we have to preserve it. But Miami Springs is not a designated Pueblo city. It is not something that's required. However, one of the things that, the earth tones and, the quantification of elements that meet Pueblo style architecture, which by the way, Pueblo style is actually a Pueblo revival. The original Pueblo style architecture dates back a lot more. So I think we have to take that into consideration, because if it was such a popular, and if it was the backbone of our city, I would think that in 80 years, somebody would have built something that was Pueblo style.
This is awful. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm just going to say 2 things. Number one, the movement that Glenn Curtis followed was something called the City Beautiful movement. Okay, it's what inspired Merritt to do the Mediterranean style in Coral Gables. the City Beautiful movement. So it doesn't have to be authentic revival, but this is the entrance to our city, and one of the main entrances to our city. And it should remind us of the beauty that he envisioned. And most people have looked at this and said, oh my gosh, that's so ugly.
No,
Sorry.
and that's exactly
That's,
why,
you
that's
know,
exactly why I made my point,
Yeah.
because I've always heard that. I'm not originally from Miami Springs, so I came in here and I thought it really was the backbone of the city. We do have some historical buildings that I 100% support that should be restored if you could, or maintained at the very least, because it is part of our nature. But, you know, it is important to put numbers in perspective because facts are facts.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right,
so,
well,
but I do thank you.
But people's hearts are